Hey everybody, Ryan here with Ray's latest, and today we're going to talk about the rumblings with JT Realmuto re-signing a 3-year, $45 million contract with the Philadelphia Phillies to return as their catcher, as well as kind of some other catching prospects that have kind of been getting my eye out on to see if there's any possibility that the Rays can kind of go out and get somebody at the backstop position, as well as just some other moves that I've seen involving some of the players that we've DFA'd recently. But first, I'm going to talk about JT Realmuto. He re-signed a 3-year, $45 million contract with the Philadelphia Phillies, which is right around that 15 million a year mark that I kind of had been saying that was probably going to be around that 15 mil. Which, to be fair, I think the Rays, being in Florida as well, probably could have got him for a mill a year less, I would say, with the tax purposes and things of that nature. So it's interesting to see where he's kind of at um, with a baseball perspective this year. He's getting up there in age. He's 34, I believe, 35. So he's got a 3-year contract. So I hope he does well. Not against the Rays, obviously, but I'm a big fan of Real Muto. I think he's kind of just plays the game the right way, in my opinion. So I think he's great. So other kind of catching pieces that I've been looking out at, one being Jonah Heim, and I know that Rays fans aren't really particularly fond of Jonah Heim, but he is a World Series champion. He's a All-Star, but from a production standpoint, it has gone nothing but downhill the last 2 seasons. So in 2023, the year that the Rangers won the World Series, he was an all-star. Was that because he possibly was just the catcher for the best team in the league that year? Probably. He only hit 18 home runs with 95 RBIs and a 258 batting average with a 758, 755 OPS. So the stats don't really jump at you as, yeah, that's the best catcher in baseball, one of the best catchers in baseball. But, the fan votes and things of that nature, when your team's good, you're going to get more votes. So I'm not saying he didn't deserve an all-star that year. He very well, that's pretty good numbers. But from the all-stars is kind of a stat that I think is overly looked at these days when it really doesn't matter because it's all a fan vote anyways, kind of like the NBA. So from a production standpoint, he's done nothing but just fallen off a cliff since then. 2024, he hit 13 homers, 220. 2025, he had 11 home runs, 213, with 88 strikeouts, 25, and 90 strikeouts in 2024. And his walk numbers dropped from 40 walks in 23 to 26, 2024. And there's no speed. He's only stolen 11 bases in his entire career. So you're not really looking for speed from behind the plate. But there are some guys out there that kind of bring a little bit more athleticism on the base paths, and he's just not doing that. As well as his defensive ability has just completely fallen off a cliff. He already wasn't a good defensive catcher when it comes from a throwing runners out perspective. And I'll just tell you the numbers. In 2022 and in 2024, he led the league in stolen bases against. In 2024, he had 98 stolen bases against him and only caught 14 runners. And then for a percentage standpoint, 12.5% of everybody that steals a base on him is getting thrown out. That's horrible. That's pretty much you steal 10 times, you're out once. You get 9 free stolen bases, statistically wise, against him. And in the 2025, he had 59 stolen bases against him and 11 caught stealings for 15%. And to put it in perspective from a Nick Fortes has around in 2025, he had a 23.3 caught stealing percentage. Granted, it was a lot less of an ability, not ability, but what's the word I'm looking for? A lot less of a sample size than a full season. He did only have 30 attempts against him. So, but Fortes in 2024 led the league in stolen bases as well with 93. So it's it's not, or he led the National League in stolen bases with 93. Jonah Heim led the American League in stolen bases with 98. So they both led their respective leagues in stolen bases against. And it's just not good from a defensive standpoint. And the bat with Fortes has just never been there as well. So, granted, he's had kind of smaller sample sizes and he hasn't gotten the ability to just play every day, which no catcher these days are ever actually going to be playing every day. But it's more of a veteran, it's a youngish, seasoned catcher with World Series experience and has played at the highest level. And you could get him for a prospect, most likely a prospect, because I think the Rangers are done with him because he's entering free agency next season. And so it's one of those things where it's if they're just going to let him walk, might as well get something for him. And I think that the Rays could have a myriad of different prospects that they could kind of try to get something done with the Rangers as well. But another guy I've been looking at as well that I'm kind of a lot more fond on is Amaya from the Cubs. And just from a hitting perspective, he hit 281 last season. There's no power. He only hit 4 home runs last season, hit 8 the year prior, 5 the year before that. Only 25 RBIs last season. But he had an 814 OPS, a 314 OBP. He only struck out 22 times last season. Granted, he only did have 4 walks as well. Kind of he's been playing a little less than normal, and he's kind of in a crowded catching room there. They got Betancourt, and he's kind of slowly falling back from where he was in 2024 from just a bulk perspective of how much he plays. And so, and from a defensive perspective, in 2025, he had a 25% caught stealing percentage. And in 2024, he had an 18. So it's better defensively, hitting wise, way better. And he's young and he is under control for the next 3 seasons. So it'd take a trade of possible prospects, possible player, big league player, however you name it. That's a guy to keep an eye out on. And for those of you that are kind of interested to kind of see what we do with a catching perspective, he's not making any money either from a contract salary perspective. So it's low on that end. The bat is a plus. The defensive side is a plus compared to Fortes and Jonah. And so it's one of those things where we have pitching prospects that the Cubs very desperately need, or we have bullpen pieces that could probably get a deal done. Not name Uceta, Griffin Jacks, any of the high end leverage guys that we're going to be using this year. I would not want to get rid of any of them. But there's some guys on the 40 man for a bullpen perspective that are easily expendable. And I think to go out and get a catcher like Amaya that could do it and kind of just let him run with it could be a good possibility, and I wouldn't be so opposed to doing that. And I think that the haul for him is not going to be too severe. So you guys let me know what you guys think about that. But also kind of just want to talk about a few things I've seen in Rays world today. Also, DeVito was put on waivers by the Tampa Bay Rays. He has since been claimed by the Miami Marlins, as well as Sung Chae Ching has put on waiver by the Rays as well, had been claimed by the Mets this weekend as well. So two guys that we released for the spots with Griffin Jacks are gone. So it's not really a drop in anything. I wasn't really expecting either of them to come back. And it is a shame that we didn't end up letting them clear waivers and end up trading them for cash or something like that, like we kind of been getting away with earlier in this offseason. So it's nothing to bat your eye at. It's not bad. It's just kind of keeping you guys updated on what these guys are kind of going to be doing. And they both did get spots on their respective 40 man rosters. So we'll see how they end up turning out this year. But you guys let me know what you guys think about the catching perspective, especially what you guys think about Amaya, and you guys have a great one.